Show. Always Irish Show. Always Irish Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back. Burt Reynolds, good morning. Good to have you here. I don't know why, man. There's just no way I'm not going to laugh at that Burt Reynolds thing. It's just the weirdest thing. It's the last guy you expect to be in here talking about like Notre Dame. It's just, Burt Reynolds. I just can't. Good to have everybody here. Blyberg, you know it makes me mad. Keep on doing it. You know it makes me mad when you start the week with good day, gentlemen, and hello, Johnny 3-star. Come on. Can I get a 4? You know that it bothers me. Can I get a 4-star? What's a brother got to do to gain a 4-star? Do I got to run a 40 time for you or catch some balls? What do I got to do? What do I got to do? Jay Carr says, nice shirt, John. I wasn't even born when that game happened. Hey, I'm trying to be a part of us being good somehow, some way, so I may as well buy a 40-year-old shirt. Rocky Stark, good to be here, though. Jason Smith, good to see you. Jerry Reinsdorf's burner. John, you owe me a little apology. I think the Rockies are worse than us, Jerry. The sooner nature runs its course on you, the better my life's going to be. I don't know any other way to say that respectfully. Brother time needs to do its thing and fast so I can get some real baseball. Real baseball. Because what you offer ain't that. It ain't that. Stephen Arado says, 3.5 star. Oh, now I feel a lot better. What are you? A 3-star, a plus? Is that what we're going to call it? A 3-star plus? Thank you. I don't know what I got to prove to you guys to get that 4-star. I don't know what I got to do. Dr. John, he's Dr. John. Good morning. Good morning to you too, sir. We got a couple phone calls here. We're going to take those calls. I want to know what you guys think. Here's the deal. It just feels like Notre Dame's kind of in between in a lot of different areas with the recruiting operation on the field, exactly where that's all at. Freeman and his tenure, where he's positioned, where he's at right now. That's my feeling. I just feel like Notre Dame's in between on a lot of different things, and it's driving everybody nuts. It's driving the content creators nuts. It's driving the article writers nuts. It's driving me nuts. It's driving the fans nuts. It's driving me nuts. It just feels like Notre Dame's like in between in a lot of different areas, and you're like, okay, can we pick a lane? Whatever lane you're going to pick, can you at least pick a lane? Jeez. Dr. John has a tea time in 30 minutes. God bless you. Good for you, man. Get out there. Get out there. You know what they say. What do they always say? A bad day at the golf course is better than a good day at the office. That's for sure. Hike daily. It's a tough day. Our dog Diesel has to be put down, suffering from bad arthritis, stopped eating. He lived a great life, loving his family. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. And I've said this for a long time. And you got to understand, I spent 12 years in the death industry. I literally spent 12 years, and my job was dealing with death every single day. I am used to interacting with the public on the worst day of their life, when their kid dies, whatever it is, an emergency, and then you got to meet with John when something awful happens. 4th of July, your kid drinks 90 beers, drives off a cliff. You go meet John. Wow, that's a fun meeting. Anyways, that's what I'm used to. So I've been around death way more than the average person. There's nothing that feels quite like losing a dog you love. It is the most unique feeling, and there's nothing like it. You're like a part of you is like, oh, it's a dog. This isn't like my friend or even my grandma or something. It's a dog, like grow up or whatever. But in a whole different way, that pain of losing a dog you love is just completely unique. And you know what? I've thought about this a lot, given my experience with death and everything. I think a part of it is even the people you care about, like you have periods where you don't treat them right, or they don't treat you right, or you manipulate them to get your way, or they manipulate you. Even the people in your family you love, you have these little games you play and you're not totally genuine all the time to get your way, whatever. The little games humans play, even when you like love people. Dogs don't have that. Dogs are just genuine. They're just dog. They don't angle. They don't manipulate. They don't do like if you're good to a dog, they're good to you. It's just the most genuine relationship. It's just the most genuine relationship. And nothing beats a good, loyal dog. Nothing beats a good, loyal dog, man. Always glad to see. Unlike your wife, they're always glad to see you. You know what I mean? When you come home, the dog's happy to see you all the time. So, it's a very unique thing, and I'm with you on that one. So really, really tough. I got a couple dogs, and one of them's on the way out, can barely walk. You know, going to the bathroom in the house because she can't get outside in time. And I'm preparing my mind for like, this is coming. You know, it's to the point where that dog's in the, like laying down and when you walk by, you nudge her with your foot to make sure she's moving. Like that's where I'm at with that one, older one. And it's just really tough. It's really, really tough, but it is such a unique relationship, you know, between humans and a good, loyal dog. And so I'm with you on this. And, you know, it's just a tough thing. But you'll never be able to explain to somebody that isn't a dog person what that feeling's like. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're a dog person, you totally get what I mean when I say there's that unique bond in relationship. If you're not a dog person or never had them, or you're a weird cat person or whatever, like a freak, weird cat person, you can never trust a cat. And by default, I got to question if I could question a guy that wants a cat. Think about it. I can't trust a cat ever. So then how am I supposed to trust a guy that wants something you can't trust ever in their house? They're climbing on the counter. They're dumping indoors. Come on. The only way I'm getting a cat is if it's a tiger. Anyways. Yeah, cats live longer. Yeah, I bet they do because they're always sneaking around and they're up to no good. Anyways, you can't trust a cat. But here's the deal, man. I'm with you on this. God bless that dog. And, you know, this is weird and everybody's different with how they process the afterlife and all this stuff. I genuinely think someday you'll be reunited with that dog, man, and everything will be all good, and you guys will be able to hang out again, and you'll be sitting in a chair drinking a beer, and that dog will be right there again. I don't know. I'm not, it's certainly not, you know, some religious clairvoyant. I'm just saying that's kind of what I think happens with the dogs I've lost from my childhood. A couple of chocolate labs that I want to reunite with sometime, hopefully. Like a couple good chocolate labs. I hope when I croak out or stroke out, whichever comes first, that I can see those dogs again in dog heaven or whatever we're doing. So it's a really, really interesting thing. Have you ever seen John wants a liger? Dude, I think a liger would be cool. I just don't like these weird little ratty house cats. Oh, I'm sitting in the windowsill looking at the neighborhood, looking to make a move. And I don't like how they climb on everything and their paws are on the counter where you're making food and they dump in a box, step in it, and then climb all over your house. Are you outside your mind? Here's the thing, man. Oh, I couldn't even watch this movie. I couldn't even. Oh, they kill mice. Bro, is your house that infested with mice? You need a cat around to save the day? Like, it's not a consideration. I don't understand. I don't have a mouse breeding factory in my basement. I don't need. Should I get a dog or a cat? Well, the cat will kill mice, so I better get a cat? What do you live in, a dumpster in an alley? You can't trust a cat. They always look like they're up to something. They always act like they're up to no good, like they're scheming on you, like they're plotting on you. They can't be trusted. You look in a chocolate lab's eyes and you see the genuine soul of a good old dog. You look into a cat's eyes and you see manipulation, sabotage. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Do dogs have souls? Has anybody ever seen the movie? Man, the beginning of this show took a sideways turn, baby. Do dogs have souls? Have you ever seen the movie A Dog's Purpose? I think that's what it's called. Anybody seen that movie, A Dog's Purpose? Did you cry seeing Marley and me? Absolutely. I can't watch that stupid movie. Why do I want to go to a movie and be all up in my feelings and all that? That's what football's for. Never watching Marley and me again. Are you out of your mind? Why do that to yourself? A Dog's Purpose. Angela, good to see you. It's always good to have a Rudy here. We got a couple phone calls. We'll get right to it, but this is a rare conversation, an important one. The movie's called A Dog's Purpose. And what it shows is, Chief, one dog's soul. Like the dog has one soul, but that soul transfers the form of the dog it is over different life cycles of that dog. Like that one soul of the dog gets transferred into these different dogs over time. One of them's a police dog. One of them's, just whatever for a little kid's pet. One of them's a police dog. And then when the dog dies there, its soul kind of reincarnates into a different shape of a different dog that has a different interaction with humans and the world in that way. It's really pretty interesting. If you want to ask that concept about that intellectual concept of like if dogs have souls, watch that movie because it kind of shows that full circle reincarnation of the dog's soul and how it kind of comes back in different ways. What if Freeman had a cat? I don't know. Bro, when you got 6 or 7 kids, what's a loose cat in the house? You can't keep track of what's going on anyways. God bless you with that dog thing. It's just tough. And don't let anybody ever make you feel weird about grieving and feeling like it's a different relationship or Kelly's definitely a cat guy. He's just weird. Think about cat ladies. That's always the one. You know the profile. Cat ladies. There is a reason the term cat lady is a thing. Think about it. Nobody ever goes, there's a weird dog lady. No one has ever said, "We look at this, you're a weird dog lady." There is a reason people say weird cat lady. There's a reason. You ever really think about like stereotypes? Like there's a little truth to stereotypes. That's how you get them. It's because there's a little bit of truth to kind of what you're saying. Yeah, that's why creepy cat lady is a thing and creepy dog lady, no one's ever said. No one's ever said creepy dog lady house on the corner. It's creepy cat lady house for damn reason. Okay? Just telling you. Always Irish Senior. Only cool cat is a big cat at the zoo or in the wild. I'm with you. Always Irish Senior is the one who has all the Labrador urns at his house. He's got the Chocolate Lab, our Chocolate Lab's urns. He's got their collars still, and you could jingle them, and it brings you back to when you were 12, and you remember that sound of your dog coming to the door, whatever. You know what I mean? They're chain jingles, and you know what it sounds like, and it's your dog, like all that stuff, man. Burt Reynolds says, "Hey, all you cool cats." Oh, man. All right. Can we try and get this back on track? Let me get mad about football now, okay? And here's the first thing. This is one topic we'll have to agree to disagree. Jay, you're unique enough. I see you as a cat guy, but in a different way than a creepy cat lady. You're like all introspective and like this and that. I can see that fitting you. Also, and I got to bring this up. I'm deathly allergic. So if you put me in a room with a cat, like I'll probably die. My throat will close up, can't breathe. If you want to end, John, lock me in a room and throw a couple cats on my face. It will not end well for me, man. My throat will close. I can't breathe. Dogs, no problem. Big cats, even no problem. But any of these little rat house cats, stay away from me. Phil, $5 holler. Good morning, 5-star John. Look at that. I appreciate that. Give me that 5-star. Give me that 5-star. Watching you on my 64th birthday today here in New Mexico. The Irish are going to have a breakout season. Trust me. Well, Philip, I don't know what you know, but I hope you're right. I don't know what you know, but I hope you're right, man. John versus a 5-pound cat. The fight of the century. I just don't trust him. I look in a cat's face and I just see deceit, lies, sneakiness, sabotage. I just can't trust him. Just can't. Butternuts. I have not seen this name before. Welcome to the program. John, do you think ND will ever win a national championship? Texas had to step it up in order to be in position to win. Will ND make the adjustments? Really, Pat says this show is weird. Yeah, no kidding. Look who's hosting it, Pat. It shouldn't really surprise you. This show is weird when I'm the one running it. Give me a break. You should know that more than anybody else. My mind is a weird place, brother. That's kind of the debate of the debate of the week. It's kind of the debate of the week is how committed to Notre Dame is Notre Dame to really getting over the hump? And what are the limits to that? What are the governors put on that? How far are they really willing to go? What are some of the hangups that may prevent them from getting where they want it to go? Like, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that anxiety, and I feel it. Like, where is Freeman at? It feels like he's at a tipping point. It feels like the program on the field's got to have a really good year this year to really have any chance to snowball this into something bigger and better. The recruiting aspect of it, the quick nature. This turning into NFL light more and more instead of college. That model does not line up with Notre Dame. That model does not line up with Notre Dame. And so that puts Notre Dame in a unique position. With every year or every change to the transfer guidelines or the NIL rules or whatever, pay for play, whatever we're doing, as the page turns and it looks and feels more and more like pro-like football, how willing is Notre Dame to play that game and keep up with the Joneses? And that's where I feel like we're at right now. How willing is Notre Dame to really do what it takes to truly be competitive in that landscape as it turns more and more into a pro-feel situation? And that's really, really tricky. That's a very, very tricky place to be. And that's why I kind of ask, what is the state of the program right now? Because I just feel kind of in between. There's certain parts of this where you're like, they're going for it and I can see it and they're doing the right things and they're trying to do it. But there's other certain parts. Where you're like, is Notre Dame willing to go there? What are they really willing to go there to the length it's going to take to, for instance, win some of these recruiting battles? Are they if you do all these other things and all this hard work to get yourself positioned to a certain point to where you believe you're close to where you want to be, are you going to let like $500K for the best player you want stop you from getting over that hump at Notre Dame? Like, these are the type of things that have been going through my mind, right? Like, you do all this work, you're in pretty good shape and you're doing this and that. And then it's like, but then are you going to balk at like $300,000 to round out your roster with a great receiver? Then that's a step too far. It's almost like, what are we doing this for? Like, if that's what we're going to do, it's almost like, what are we doing this for? If you're going to do all this and break your back and work hard and try and do all this, and then you're like, yeah, but we're not willing to pay, $300,000 more to get the best player on our board or whatever. Well, look, why bother doing this then, man? $300,000 is nothing in the big scheme of things. Like, it's just not. And it's easy for me to say that because I don't have to pay it. It's not my money. It's not my money. It's billionaire Notre Dame family money. It ain't my money. Why do I care if a billionaire family that has the money to spend at Notre Dame spends it on football? What do I care? Go for it. Blyberg, you're trolling me. What are you saying? Freeman has 5 cats. Whatever, man. Hopefully they're tigers. Like Mike Tyson in the backyard, and there's just a tiger there. All right, we got a couple calls. And I'm going to take those. I highlighted a couple chats that I want to get to, but I'm going to give it to the callers. We have somebody that's never called before. I always like giving them a chance to get in, and then we'll come back. We got some new viewers today, which I do like. I don't know how every once in a while we hit a weird thing where like we get an influx of a bunch of people I don't recognize. And it's really cool. I love that. And as we get into this season, I hope we have more than that on these shows. It livens them up. Notre Dame wine and cheese. How much can Notre Dame do what it takes while maintaining morals and attitude? At what point should Notre Dame justifiably hold to its standards over getting a top guy, for example? Yeah, those are kind of the issues that I'm playing around with in my mind. Although I would ask, like, when you ask what point we should hold to its standards over getting a top guy, for example, you need to define to me, wine and cheese, this is the key point here. 419-574. I'm coming to you guys. Hang with me. 419, I'm going to get you first. Looks like you may be a first-time caller. I want to know what you have to say. Here's the big question about this. The big question is, when you say, when should we hold off to justifiably hold on to our standards? Then I'm going to ask, What is that line? Give me, I would like to know an example of something that you perceive to be across that line or Notre Dame's line. I don't know that answer. Because to me, if you're doing all the right things and you have good guys and they're not getting in trouble off the field, getting arrested, they're not drinking and driving every single day like the Georgia players. By the way, do you know how offensive is it that Georgia just had that situation where multiple people in the program died drinking and driving, and now you got their players still drinking and driving, being reckless? It is the most ignorant situation I could ever imagine. You literally just had multiple people in your program dying from this exact thing. And then every other week they're driving around drinking and driving, getting arrested for it. And it's just no big deal. And you're still going to play nobody cares. And you could do whatever. It's hilarious to me how ignorant you could be to the reality and how offensive it is that just happened in your program and you're doing it. It is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's the culture, but they win a lot of games, so nobody cares, I guess. Right? Josh Miller says, had a snake infestation at a property, bought 2 cats and no more snakes. I'm going to tell you this right now, Josh. You're a good guy. I enjoy interacting with you. Never invite me to that property. You're talking about combining all of the worst things in my life. Snakes and cats. If you could have a shark on there, then you would just touch them all. I don't trust cats, and I definitely, you know my other rule, don't trust anything without legs. And sharks and snakes are right there. Sharks and snakes. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Don't these colleges have a thing where, if you're a player, you could call a number and get picked up by an assistant staffer, and they don't ask questions of what you've been doing or where you're at. But if you're all strung out at 3 a.m., they'll pick you up, a staffer, and drive you home and dump you off at your apartment or whatever. Get a grip. Outrageous. But that's my question I want to know is, what crosses that line where you're no longer comfortable as a Notre Dame fan? If you're getting good guys that are doing the right things, are you really against giving them $300,000 or whatever to play at Notre Dame? What about that offends you? Is it just the idea that you get that money for coming to Notre Dame and you don't have to earn it right away? If you're doing it, promising it to a freshman and that crosses your line or whatever? And if it does cross the line, you could feel that way. But you need to understand you're not landing these good players then. That's fine. If that's the line you're drawing, fine. Or if it's a number you don't want to promise, or the timing of it, that's a big one. I'm going to the callers. Is it the timing of it that we're really uncomfortable? We're really uncomfortable doing it for freshmen because they haven't proven themselves yet. You can hold that line. That's fine, but you're not winning anything. You can hold that line, but the rest of the country doesn't. So you're going to be limited and you're not getting those guys, and then you're going to fall short of your goals. And all the other the work you're doing to get the program good enough in other areas, there's going to be a governor on what you can accomplish. If you're not willing to play the game everybody else is playing. Welcome to the big leagues, bro. Welcome to the big leagues. Who supplies the alcohol to the underage players at ND? I would imagine the players that are of age. What do you mean? They're all friends. Isn't that the most obvious answer? That you would go to your buddies that are a couple years older than you? That's what I would do. What do you mean? So that's what I want to know is, why is there some contingent of Notre Dame people that act like they're offended by these guys making money? I don't get that. You're not paying it. It's coming from all that money comes from billionaire families that have money to blow. They want the name recognition. They want their name on a building. They have the money. It's not your money. I get really annoyed when people are like, oh my God, that's a lot of money for nothing. Whatever. You're not paying it. So what does it matter to you? You're not paying it. So why does it bother you? Even on the moral part of it, I really don't understand. Like, if that's what the landscape is now and it's legal to do, what's the problem? I get that you want people to earn it before they get the money and all that. In an ideal, I get that part, you guys. I get it. Listen, I do understand the idea. If Notre Dame was like, man, freshman, we haven't even seen you on camp. We don't know if you're going to act right. We don't know if you're going to have your grades right. We haven't even seen you on the field running around. It's tough to promise $250,000 to a guy like that where we have no evidence that this is going to work out or whatever. I understand the instinct to feel that way. But guess what? Nobody else is going to do it that way. So if you want to have that arbitrary moral or that arbitrary concern delineation point or whatever, you can have that all you want. But then you can't be like, how are we not landing the best players? You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Like, if that's the line you're going to make, then you don't get to be like, oh, I don't understand why we can't land the top guys, because they want to go make money, man. And it's perfectly legal. So I don't understand it. And again, you're not spending the money, so the amount should not matter to you at all. The amount is it's just out in the ether, and it just changes with the market in the big picture, whatever. It's like largely irrelevant. You're not paying it. You're not paying it. If that's their stance, John, loosen the admissions for proven undergraduate transfer talent 100%. And I do understand that's something that Freeman's trying to work on. And they're trying to get more flexibility on that. And you got two different things going on here. Then I'm going to the calls. Jeez, this went off the rails, but that's what this show's about. I'm talking about like you trying to do the right thing and set this program up the right way. And then you run up against a wall if you're not really willing to go all the way with it. The problem with that is that's how you get burnt out. Like, follow me here. I know there's a lot of people in Notre Dame land that aren't bought in on Freeman, and this is a big year for him to have to prove that he can make it in Notre Dame and that we're turning a corner and all that. But let's say you're somebody who does believe in Notre Dame and you're into that work ethic and the recruiting and the personality and all the stuff I talk about that I take heat for, valuing more than a lot of people do. I take heat for that. If you want Freeman to work like crazy to get the program to a certain point, and then he does, and you're not willing to do the things it takes to push it over the hump, that's where Freeman goes, I'm out of here. See ya. I'm not going to waste my prime working my ass off, getting this to a certain point, and I need a little bit more of a push or flexibility from the admin or from the money people or whatever it is, and you're not going to do that. That's where Freeman's like, you know what? I think if Ryan Day goes to the NFL because he's sick of all the Ohio State people wanting to fire him if he loses one game or whatever, I think I'm going to go over there. Because I'm not going to waste my coaching prime working my hands to the bone and not getting the support. So that's where it's kind of an issue. John, are you ready for the ND beat telling you how great the wide receiver room looks in camp? Yeah, dude. I can't wait, man. Randy Moss out there. We got Jerry Rice. We got Timmy Brown. And it's a pretty good Tony Roberts. Give me that one. Anybody of a certain age, that was a pretty good Tony Roberts. Timmy Brown. We got Jerry Rice out there. It's going to be awesome. I mean, they're going to be top notch, baby. You don't even know. You don't even know. Somebody said we need a salary cap. I think it might have been Mark. And Mark might even be waiting on the line here. We got a couple 419s. Some Ohio action. Here's the deal. Oh, yeah, the game comes out or whatever. People were taking off work to play the game. Listen, man, my inclination is to make fun of that. Yeah, 21 likes. Come on, man. Hook a brother up. It really is the situation when they see more likes, they push the video to more people. So if you're here, give it a thumbs up. It really does help. Mark was talking about, that's not even. Here's the deal with the video game. Good for you. My inclination is to make fun of it if you're like 40 and you're calling off work, sit at home and watch a video, you play a video game or whatever. But I'm going to tell you this. With everything going on in the world these days, if that makes you happy and you're not hurting anybody, just sit in the basement and play your little video game till your heart gives out. Genuinely, go for it. Like, that's seriously, like, my inclinations to make fun of that if you're like 42 and you need to call off the day to play the video game. God bless you, man. You're not hurting nobody. Just go ahead and play your little video game. Go ahead, man. Here's the thing with the salary cap, Mark. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Dr. John. Good luck out there on the links, Dr. John. The problem with the salary cap is if you made a salary cap either for NIL or for whatever this guaranteed payout's going to be from the lawsuit or whatever, all people are going to do is just go above and beyond it. The salary cap will not do anything because the teams that are going to stretch are going to stretch. It's just the form that it takes changes. When it used to be that leather bag under Granny's porch that has $200K in it, or that convertible that showed up in the driveway overnight when you wake up and no one knows where it came from, or the rent's paid, or mom got a job she's not qualified for. That used to be how that was all done in the 80s and whatever. So a salary cap only applies to people that are actually going to be honest about it and follow the rules. And there ain't a lot of those people around in the world of college football. So you would have a cap and then you would meet the cap and then find another way for that $300K to meander its way to your wallet. So that's why I'm very skeptical that would ever work. So I don't know. I don't know, man. But the video game, I don't know. God bless you. Knock yourself out, bro. Like, play. Knock yourself out. There's a lot of wild stuff going on in the world. So do we be happy? $2 olive from Rodney. Can't call in today. So here's my $2 penalty fee. Rodney sent me a text, and it was a picture of him on a Blu-ray video. I think it was a Blu-ray DVD or a video or something. He's getting them royalties, man. Hashtag Rodney royalties. We got a Hollywood actor in the house, baby. I love it. Oh, boy. Indie athletes' pockets aren't earning. Trust me, they're fine. Yeah, it's. I think it's going to turn from being fine to like being wealthy. Like, you know how it is. It's just like the prices of everything. It ain't trending the other way. Like, I don't know what you expect, but there isn't going to be some big realization. And we go from like whatever the market is, it's not going to roll back, I don't think. 419, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Johnny.
What's going on, man? Hey, thank you for your patience. But yeah, just a weird morning. So thank you for your patience. What's on your mind, man?
That's all right. Just wanted to talk about a couple things. Always love the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I think half the time when you're talking about Freeman and all the good things he's doing, most of these people don't even listen to the fact that you do hold him accountable for things. They just want to say you're jumping on the bandwagon and giving them a free pass when you're still pointing out the things you need to work on.
I really, really appreciate you noticing that. It is one of my biggest modern frustrations, is that because people know that I really appreciate the way he goes about the job with the work ethic and the communication and the relationship building that I think is a very, very important part of any coach making it in Notre Dame, is all those parts of it. Just because I approve of all that does not mean that that everything he does is good enough or great and that nothing needs to improve. I can't get people to understand that. They're like, John, this is your guy, therefore I okay everything he does. It's like, John, you like the way he does his job, so you're giving him a pass for having 10 guys on the field against Ohio State. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to work on, but just because you think I think he's doing much better in recruiting. So I think that's going to help us on the field.
I think he is. I think he's doing. Here's my thought on the recruiting, and the moment in time we're in right now is particularly fascinating. It's trending up overall, but it could be trending a lot more up overall. That's like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's trending when you zoom out and look down at it. It is trending up overall, but with a few little changes or things going a different way, it could be way more drastically up. And that's my immediate frustration.
Yeah, I think one of the things that'll help too is, I agree, the lack of wide receiver production over the past couple of seasons really isn't going to make anybody, want to come here that's a high-level wide receiver. And the fact that a lot of the offense has been more focused on tight ends and running back,
yeah,
that just makes it a little harder to get wide receivers in here. And I think that's also another thing that affected Hartman last year, is he knew his receivers weren't getting open as much as they should. So if he's going to complete anything downfield, he has to put it in the perfect spot every time. And I just don't think he had faith in the receivers.
It's a really, really interesting dynamic, man. Like, how do you, I asked this question, you got to take your Notre Dame fanhood out of it and really look at Notre Dame's offenses recently and then be like, how appealing has that offense been to you if you're like a 5-star wide receiver, to where you're confident you are going to get showcased and be in an exciting offense that wants to allow you to shine and ball out? Like, no, like that's not been Notre Dame's offense. Now, for a lot of reasons. The quarterbacks have been a big problem. I think some of the offensive scheme and how they're doing all that last year, there were certainly problems with that. But like, there's a lot of different things that would make you be like, if I'm a 5-star guy, would I really want to go to Notre Dame? Now, that could all change now. Mike Denbrock, theoretically, it should be a lot more of an exciting operation to watch. Maybe some of those guys will be intrigued once they see a more exciting, active Notre Dame offense under Mikey D. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thought process too. I think he's going to make the needed improvements for the offense to open up the passing game a little bit more. And if we stick with our quarterbacks in the quarterback room and keep building on them, I think that'll help, because receivers will know I don't have to work on a new relationship with a new quarterback every year out of the transfer portal.
Yep.
And we might not get any receivers this year, but I think if we show it on the field this year, that could help us for next year and going on. And then especially if we stick with one quarterback for at least a couple of years instead of a new quarterback. You got to keep getting used to how they throw, how they read things.
Yeah, and there's just no stability to that. And it's the most important position and individual position in all of sports, and that's a lot of instability. So here's my thought. I'm with you on the way you're thinking of it. Blyberg says, I smell a Freeman sexual. Oh, God. Blyberg, you're creative. I like that. Christopher with the $20 holler. Thank you, man. Pay for the phone lines for the week. Here's my thought. Tell me if you've thought this through. I am expecting to be very frustrated with the way this wide receiver recruiting window ends for Notre Dame. I've been through it a million times and we never usually end up on the right side of it. So I am expecting it to be bad and us to be frustrated. Follow me here. Tell me if you've thought of this. Here's what you might have to do in the short term as a Band-Aid. Like you said, you think we're going to be able to start turning in-house for quarterbacks with Deuce and Carr and not have to go to the portal for another one-year guy after this year. Theoretically, that means you're saving like $1 million. Go get the top receiver out of the portal for $500K then and spend the other $500K on the D-line to get a monster clogging up the middle or attacking off the edge, because I think those are two things you're going to need for the next year. Those are Band-Aids. Those are not long-term solutions, but those may be what you could do in the short term. Do you see it that way? It's not an ideal spot to be in, but it's just a potential way to go about it.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I think that's kind of what they were doing with the quarterback position until they, I think, got the guys they want, and they'll roll with them from now on. But, yeah, I definitely think picking up wide receivers or some good defensive linemen is going to help. And then, like I said, that just helps open up the passing game for that year even more.
Yeah.
And I think once we actually show that we're willing to throw the ball downfield and we're willing to focus more on wide receivers, not just running back, tight end, that we actually will start picking up some better wide receivers.
Yeah. See, that's the other question too. And I don't have any way to measure this. I don't have a good way to measure this. What kind of boost could you get in the wide receiver and the skill player recruiting arena? What kind of boost could you get if this offense genuinely looks more exciting and involves all the player, and it isn't just run it into a wall on first and second down, throw it to the tight end on third and long, and then punt, which has been most of our offense for a long time. That's what I don't know. What kind of boost could you get in recruiting if the offense looks more exciting and the wide receivers are way more involved and Notre Dame goes 11-1 and makes the playoff and has a really strong year? It's got to help, but I don't know how much it helps. Like, how much does that help you with the next batch of really good wide receivers that are kind of interested in Notre Dame? Or does it just come down to the money, baby? Show me the money. Like, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer.
Well, I think they're going to get the money figured out with NIL. They got the money to spend, so they'll be able to work on that. And I think if we just make a decent improvement this year in our passing game, then that'll help us. We might not get a couple good wide receivers, but we might be able to get one of the top wide receivers out of like next year's class. And then once you start opening that up and you start getting somebody better, that's just going to help draw more attention to the wide receiver room and the fact that we actually can throw the ball around and make better receivers come in. Because if we just get better receivers with the tight ends we always have, the ridiculous running back room we always have, if we just have more of a deep threat downfield, that's just going to make our tight ends over the middle even more effective, and the running back be able to have everybody backed up a little bit more, so it's a little bit easier to get through the line.
Yeah, it's man, it's just a weird, you're bumping up against this thing I have of like, does Notre Dame want to be all in? And I just don't know what the point is of trying to do a lot of things the modern way, but then stopping just short of like getting over the finish line. Like, I don't know, man. And the money thing always cracks me up. Notre Dame has the money. It's what the powers that be are willing to spend it on. Everybody needs to understand. SPF is an LSU fan in here every day, and he's asking, I don't understand, doesn't Notre Dame have the money or whatever? They definitely have the money, more than enough money to go get whatever they want with players and whatever. It's a matter of what the powers that be will allow that money to be spent on or not. And I know it's weird for like an LSU fan to think about, but at Notre Dame, all of the people in power do not care about football. Some of them do, but a lot of them do not care about football. Some of them actually almost resent football in a way. And I don't know why that is, but it's always been a thing at Notre Dame. Everybody's not sitting there under that dome going, here's our meeting today. How do we make Notre Dame the most competitive football team? No, they got 30 other things they're worried about way before you get to football. It's just not like that at Notre Dame. They have different priorities. The power people do. These billionaire people do. It ain't all about football. And it pisses me off because without football, none of this other shit would matter. No one would care about your degree. It wouldn't be worth jack squat without football being elite. To not honor that now offends me.
Yeah.
Sorry, caller. I went off on that one.
With Pete going in, and having a little bit of change up, we'll be able to fix some of this, and they'll be able to put more pressure on focusing on football. Because you can focus on football and still do the academics. It's not like making football better is going to make the academic side of Notre Dame worse.
Yeah.
So hopefully with some of the changes here recently, we'll be able to work on that better.
It's unbelievable, man. For the way Notre Dame likes their standing in the world and in country, like their brand and all that, the way Notre Dame values that, it seems to me they should be willing to do whatever it takes to make the football team elite. And the boom that would be for everything with the universe, just everything. It's the tide that raises all ships if Notre Dame football is elite. But the idea that you would work so hard to try and recruit and develop and do this team and support Freeman and everything, and then it gets to a point where you're just not willing to spend more money, I just don't get that.
Well, I said, hopefully things will change here soon with Pete in there, and he'll kind of force them to change their thinking a little bit and show them that it's worth spending more money on the football side of things.
Yeah, it's just, man, I get it. If you're like, man, I'm a little uncomfortable promising these freshmen a bunch of money and stuff or whatever. It's like, okay, you can be uncomfortable with it all you want. Get over it. Because that's where the modern game's at. So you're either in it or you're not. Like, you get over it. You could be uncomfortable with it all you want and then write the check and be uncomfortable with it. Or the other alternative is you're going to burn out your coaches. A guy like Freeman that is willing to work hard and everything, you got to support him. He's going to go, why am I doing all this if you're going to put a governor on how good it could be? I'm out of here. Like, you're not going to be able to keep good coaches if you do it that way. You're just not.
Now, I think eventually they're going to change everything so where basically every single player is going to get paid, so much money.
Yeah.
It's going to be more kind of like NFL contracts where this is the maximum amount each player can make, and then it spreads it to the whole team evenly. And you still have people, like you said, throwing $200K under grandma's porch. But
yeah,
I think that'll help out because then they're going to be forced to spend it, even if they don't want to spend it.
Yeah, it's just I just think that's where this is all headed. And it's very awkward for a lot of people at Notre Dame because what they're doing is it's getting more and more like mini pro football. That's not Notre Dame's model. They're trying to still do the actual college model. And so the trend is moving away from Notre Dame's natural path and inclination. And that puts you in a position where you got to make really tough decisions. Because every month, every year, we're getting further down that pro-like path. And it puts Notre Dame in more of a weird spot to have to pick what way they're going to go. And it's very awkward, but that's what I feel is going on. That's just my feel for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like the way it's going either. but I knew it was eventually going to come down to it. And like I said, I think it's going to keep leveling out to where basically every player that you have on the team is going to get paid, and everybody will just make a certain amount of money.
Yeah, and so listen, you're going to have to give with it to a certain level, and you're going to have to understand everybody's going to get paid a certain amount, like a part of it. It's what you do beyond that that's going to get guys or not. You know, just paying that minimum amount, everybody's going to be obligated to pay out by that NCAA ruling or the court ruling. That is what it is, but you're going to have to go above and beyond that. You want to land these wide receivers that the SEC wants. You're losing an in-state kid to one of your academic rivals out west. Get serious about your life. Like, what are you doing? You are. So I don't know, man. It's always something. It's always something.
Yeah, there's always some new rabbit hole to go down with everything. But thanks for taking my call, man, and have a great show.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Give me a call again. I really like when first-time people call in, and good call, crystal clear phone line, good thoughts. Saved a number. Call me again, man. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Usually can't call because of work, but I took basically every Monday off for the rest of the year. So
beautiful, man.
I can call in more on Monday.
I love that. And then when we get into the season, Saturday night after the games, hit me up, brother, okay?
Oh, yeah, I'll be pretty loaded after the game. So
Woo,
I'll make sure to
woo. Do it. Have a good Monday. Take care, brother. 419574 coming up. Dude, you're giving Freeman way too much respect. Listen to the word. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Listen to what I'm telling you. Listen to what I'm telling you. Okay? I'm not saying Freeman's the best coach. You know, it's Nick Saban reincarnated. It's Urban Meyer when he was winning and before we all knew what a weird, bad guy he is. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Freeman has an exemplary work ethic, and he's building the relationships you must build to even put Notre Dame in a position to reach its goals. That is a lot more than the last few coaches have been able to do. Genuinely put in the amount of extra work it takes to get Notre Dame anywhere near where you want it to be, and have those relationships on track with whoever you need to around Notre Dame and that whole ecosystem. He's doing that. And that is already puts him further down the line than the last few, everybody since Lou in those categories. That doesn't mean that I'm saying he's like elite right now and that he's Nick Saban and everything's perfect or whatever. I don't understand. I'm giving him the respect he deserves for where he's at right now. Everything isn't perfect. I'm not saying he's made no mistakes. I'm not saying he's won enough. I'm not saying it's okay to lose. I'm not saying it's all right to have 10 guys on the field when you're allowed to have 11. Johnny has no leverage. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. But my question is, why does he need leverage? Like, that's another question. Why do you need leverage? Think about that concept. He has no leverage. Think about this. How much leverage do you need if you're at an alleged top-tier football school? How much leverage should you need to have to get the NIL money you need to land the last few recruits you want on the board? Shouldn't even take leverage. It should get like that concept's odd to me. You think like you shouldn't really need leverage. It should just be a part of the resource kit that the head coach gets at a top 10 football school. that you get the money you need to get the guys in here, you need to get to the next level or whatever. Like, that shouldn't be a leverage play to me. That should just be like a part of the toolkit you get as the head coach to build out what you need. But that's only if you're at a place serious about elite winning in football. Are we certain Notre Dame's leadership's there? So I don't know. I don't know. Man, I'm telling you. Well, you're saying he does this and works hard and does all that and will get tired and leave for what? Miami, Ohio? I'm telling you. Here's what I'm saying. Somebody, if you don't give Freeman what he needs and he gets frustrated by that, somebody's going to give him what he needs. Somebody's going to give him what he needs. And they're going to go, hey, man, come here and use that personality. We'll open the checkbook for you and you can really no governor on the thing and see what you can really do and reach your potential. And we're not going to hold you back. We're going to do an open checkbook. You use your relationships and the way you do that to get whatever you want. I'm just saying that's where I could see that going. That's where I could see that going. Now, that being said, I think that should just be built in. If you're at a serious football place, that toolkit full of money or whatever you need, it should just be kind of built in. But Andrew, I don't fully disagree. The boosters need something to get excited about. They aren't dumb. Yeah, but that's a chicken and the egg. That's a chicken and the egg, Andrew. Think about it. You're saying the boosters need something to get excited about, whatever. Okay, well, then that's a chicken and the egg. Freeman could go to the boosters and say, I got things pretty good here. I need your help to get it to the next level. And the boosters are saying, we're going to hold back giving you the money to get the best players, and we expect you to win without that first. Now you're in a weird, messed up chicken and the egg thing. Now you're in a big, you know what I'm saying, in your brain. You're all back and forth and back. It's that old thing of like, I love this one. I love it. I hear it every day. I see it on the Twitters every day. Well, if Notre Dame would just win all of its biggest games, recruiting, they would be able to recruit better. Yeah, no kid, no shit. But what does it take to win all your biggest games? Really good players. It's the ultimate chicken and the egg. Oh, well, if Notre Dame just won all of its biggest games, it'd be a lot easier to recruit. Yeah, but how do you win your biggest game? You need better players. It's this ultimate chicken and the egg thing with Notre Dame. Now, Andrew, oh, God, here's what I want to think of. I want to think that those boosters just have like $5 million sitting there and they're like, Marcus, let's see, and they're like sitting there with a briefcase or something with all that money, and they're holding it open and they're like, hey man, let's see what's up. If you have a really good year, go 11-1, make the playoff, win a couple games or something. This could all be yours. Like, whatever, man. I hope. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. Freeman nor anyone will be able to win at ND till they make change and go full NIL. Indy has the money. They can still keep academics in play. 4 for $40 with an offer of $800K. There you butternuts. You want to be on the Notre Dame board? I'm down with that plan. Bring them, everybody, but hook them to horns. Bring them through. I like that plan. Freeman has quite frankly underachieved in his first 2 years. Same amount of top 10 wins as Kelly in 12 years. I'm actually surprised by how supportive the boosters and admin have been. If he can max out results this year, he'll get the money. I mean, I'm just telling you, he's got the same amount of top 10 wins as Kelly did in 12 years, and everybody carried water for Kelly. Not everybody. Most carried water for Kelly most of that entire time. John, what do you mean? This is as good as it's been since Lou. You should just shut up and be happy that Kelly won the Pinstripe Bowl. Psych your mind, bro. And again, Andrew, you're underestimating some of these relationships. The way some of this works. When you talk about this support from the boosters and the admin, a lot of that has to do with those relationships that you guys mock me for talking about. I don't understand why people, do people just not get? Do they think I'm exaggerating when I tell you guys I know what this looks like behind the scenes and the bullshit games you got to play to get into good graces of the power players at Notre Dame? Do you think I'm making it up? Do you think I'm making that up for content? When I tell you guys, you have no idea. You have no idea how real that is. I don't understand why people just poo-poo that like it's not a real thing when I'm telling you it is. There's a lot of petty power play ego games that go on underneath that gold dome. And the higher up the rotunda you go to those offices, the more games get played. And you got to play it all right to even have a chance as Notre Dame's coach to get anything done you want. So, I don't know. It's tough. I want to know, I want to know Notre Dame's big. What do you think they would say? Let me ask this. What do you think they would say if I asked, why can't you just pay these wide receivers whatever it's going to take for them to come to Notre Dame if they like Notre Dame? Like, what's the answer to that? Like, that's the most simple question I could ever ask in a million years. That's my question. Somebody write in the answer. Like, what is the reason that they would say, I don't want to do that, I can't do that, or whatever? I know they have the money, so that's not an answer. I know they have the money. That's not an acceptable answer here. I know they have the resources. So then what would the answer be if you asked Notre Dame, why are you hesitant to guarantee the money it takes to fill out this wide receiver room with ballers? What would they say? We're against that because we want the guys to come here and do school first? Like, what kind of reason would you give that would make that thought acceptable? $20 olive from the coconut. Then we'll go back to the phones. $20 olive from the coconut. The Olympics kicking off in 12 days. I predict the boys from ND will bring home a gold medal for the USA in ping pong. So even if you guys don't make the playoffs this year, at least you have that. Hey, you know I have an affinity for that sport. Even bought myself a Chinese table tennis robot during the lockdowns. I literally lost my mind and bought it, and it's awesome. And you dump 100 balls up, and that thing spins them and shoots them all over the place. ZB Snickers, $5 olive. Will our offense be better early in games? Only scored over 7 points once in the first quarter. All 3 losses were under 10 in the first half. That is a fantastic point. Fantastic point. You need to do that. You need to do that. They would say that it's a slippery slope and their money is finite. Is it really, though? And think about it this way. If Notre Dame makes deep playoff runs, aren't you making back whatever you would put in? This isn't like a zero ROI where you just dump money into something and it's gone. Like, there's also a chance that if you do this the right way, your ROI is tenfold if you actually get it right and nail it. Like, it's not just money down the toilet that's just guaranteed gone with no ROI. They aren't the right kind of kids we want here at ND. They want to come here for the education and football, not money. But why can't you have it all? If they're not the right kind of kids, why are you recruiting them then? All these wide receivers we're debating and talking about now, they think are Notre Dame kids enough to offer them and want them to be included in the class. There's this stigma around the pay for play thing, because for my whole life, it was like, yeah, we don't win anything, but at least we're not doing it the wrong way with the money underneath Granny's porch and all that. You know, like, I really do think that's what it is. I think that's why there's this stigma, because for so long you were always like, yeah, we don't win anything, but we're also doing it clean or trying to do it clean or whatever. I don't know. It's not the Notre Dame way. Choose hard. Yeah, well, it is. It is hard. It's hard to win when you got people with my body type out there catching balls. It's really hard to win. Oh, man. Look at this. 419, I'm coming to you, 5742. Big money, Jason, big money people want some guarantees or good odds on their favor when they spend that kind of big money. Paying a high school kid doesn't always meet that criteria in their minds. I understand that. I totally understand that. I think that's actually a very fair perspective. Paying a high school kid doesn't always meet that criteria of good ROI, like guarantee. I totally agree with you. But if that's where the market is nationally and what your competitors are doing, you got to consider that as well. When you're uncomfortable with it, but you see that everybody you're trying to get ahead of is doing it, that needs to be a part of your calculation. See, that's the other part of this. That's the other part of this. This isn't just Notre Dame in a vacuum of their morals, their mindset, the way they want to do. It isn't just Notre Dame alone, what they're comfortable doing. You also have to make decisions based on the greater landscape. And that's where I feel like Notre Dame's getting uncomfortable with the way the train's heading down the track, the opposite way that Notre Dame naturally does things. That's where you're bumping up against this. That's where you're bumping up against this. Why can't you put insane incentive pay for production for a high school kid? I love that. Man, I love that. Can't you get creative and be like, here's what we're going to do, and if you do this or whatever, I don't know. But then do you have pressure? But then do you feel some awkward pressure to play a guy early when you're not sure he's ready and then he's going to say, you're not giving me a chance to reach that production thing or whatever. And then like all of these things have trickle downs, right? Then it becomes, well, the kid's going to be mad if he's not playing right away, because how could he even have a chance to reach those numbers if he's not getting the ball enough? Like, that opens up a whole complicated thing too. Think about it. Do you get what I'm saying? Look at the other side of that. Then there's a whole different pressure level there, because you got to give a kid a chance to be able to reach whatever those markers are. And if you don't, then are you playing kids for the right reason, or just keep them happy for that money, whatever? I don't know. It's a really tough dynamic. 419, you're on the line. What's going on? Good morning to you too, sir. I thought maybe you were just letting out a morning burp or something there.
No. Yeah, I can't do it very good. Shout out to the dog. I got a couple things, But one thing, I think, well, a lot of us agree that Freeman's improved a lot of things, but I think one thing has been getting noticeably worse, and that's wide receiver. And I know it's been bad for years, but it went from bad to worse. And if you look at the two leading wide receivers he's had a 484-yard and a 361-yard. That's from the wide receiver position.
Yeah, that's not
And
even
that's
it's just not even that's not even from the real world. Those are not real world numbers. Like you can't even see the real world from there.
The top guys have 3 to 4 times that.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington's had 2 over 1,000. I know we overly rely on the tight end, and if if Evans didn't get hurt, the 2 years their tight end is the leading receiver, and now they've got this mismatched collection of guys. So we'll see if it works or not, and it's somewhat understandable because you got 3 years, 3 different QBs, 3 different offensive coordinators. And it's just been a shit show. We had like 3 games for the Duke, or 3 wide receivers for the Duke game. I think the Sun Bowl, they had 4.
Yeah.
It's understandable, but at the same time, it's been embarrassing. So
Okay.
you can see why.
All right. So let's figure. Okay, Mark, let's figure our way out of this. What are the top few things you could think that Notre Dame could do to turn that around? Because I can think of a few things right away. Having better quarterback play that is more reliable and appealing to these guys. Having a better offensive scheme and coaching and all that, with Denbrough having a more exciting offense that actually uses these wide receivers and all that. You're going to have to pay them more than whatever Notre Dame's apparently offering to pay them. What else am I missing? How do you fix this problem?
Yeah, I think it's all those things, and I think they just need one guy to look the part, look like a legitimate wide receiver. I think they've had a lot of guys that have looked like it here or there. I thought Thomas was going to be that guy till he kind of fell apart. And I feel like maybe if they have one guy look the part, it kind of lays out the roadmap. But as it is, it's like every year you just get some random guy or, a lacrosse player. It's like they're throwing shit together to put out there and throw the ball to. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's and then let me ask this. This is another way to look at it too. We have had a problem with this for a while now. And it makes me wonder, it isn't just one guy, right? It isn't just Chancey Stuckey, and then you get rid of him, and then it goes off to the races, and he was the problem. It seems to be a bigger Notre Dame thing overall. It's something about the DNA and the makeup of these dude wide receivers that the Notre Dame way doesn't line up with them, or like the ego, because this has transcended head coaches and position coaches. Or is it just Notre Dame's northern cold weather wanting to run the ball, throw to the tight end DNA just doesn't appeal to those guys? It's just been a problem for a while now, man.
Yeah, I think that whole Stuckey thing really, really delayed, Freeman's wide receiver core by 2 years of all that drama and what he was doing. But, if Ohio State can get all these wide receivers, it's cold in Columbus. So, that's not really it. But, I think Denbrock, with his getting players in space, I'm optimistic with, Mitchell and Collins, and hopefully guys will see that, Notre Dame can throw the ball and you can actually catch it and run after the catch. type of stuff.
Yeah, and
Because-
Mark, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I really don't have an answer. Nobody does. If Riley Leonard is better at throwing the ball around than what we've had and Hartman was or whatever else, and the offense is more exciting, and Notre Dame has a playoff year, 11-1 or something, makes the playoff, it's got to help all this. I have no way to know how much. It's got to help. It can't hurt. It can't be a neutral if you have a really good year. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that helps.
And like somebody was saying a couple of weeks ago, like when we had Weiss and we ran all those slants, the Stovall and Samardzija, like those plays were unstoppable. And there wasn't anything too complicated about it. It was like taking candy from a baby. And it's like you just have to like know how to spread them out and put guys in the right position and not just be so vanilla. I don't know. And then with the other thing, we were talking about NIL and like I have to imagine like to keep a lot of these guys, like Jeremiah Love specifically, like he had to have everybody knocking on his door because I don't know when's the last time Notre Dame had a guy on offense, non-O-line or tight end that could play anywhere in the country. But like the fact that all these guys came back and nobody stole any of these guys, wouldn't that appear to be like a sign that they're, keeping up with it?
Yeah, it's so frustrating because I just see different parts of this program that are where I need them or closer to where I need them or where I want them. And then there's other parts that just aren't. And Mark, the problem is there is no leeway now, man. Even in a 4-team playoff, you could be like, okay, we got the seeding lucky round one, and then maybe you have one great game, and then you're like close to a championship. You're not going to get away with any weaknesses in this new format. That's been on my mind too. You're going to have to win 4 games against top 12 teams. If you have a weakness, you will be exposed. Notre Dame is not going to get away with having obvious weak points, trying to cover them up and think you're making you're going to get exposed.
Yeah.
So you got to be well-rounded, and these areas got to pick up somehow, some way.
And that I do think the most important thing in the new playoff is going to be the defenses, because we've seen, what just happened to, Washington and what Michigan was able to do with, their defense. I mean, I can't even name one of their wide receivers. I don't even know how they did it. And then, they won 4 straight games if you count Iowa. I think Iowa was like 12, but they beat 2 or 3 teams in a row. And then before that, Ohio State and Iowa. So I mean, I don't know. I still think it's going to be the defense that's more important, but obviously you got to be able to throw the ball.
Yeah, you do. And the other thing is, man, the quarterback. How much would change if you knew as a receiver, like who your quarterback was going to be and that he had a elite skill set? That's also something Notre Dame has not been able to offer lately. So that would be really nice too. Like, I would just love to see what that looks like. If you're a hot wide receiver, don't you kind of want to know for sure somebody's going to be able to get you the ball? You couldn't know that in Notre Dame.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, we always have a quarterback that's on its last year, and the guys are looking at a guy that they're not going to have.
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Maybe if you could stabilize that position with Deuce or Carr, and people know what they're going to get, and they know it's a guy that could get them the ball, maybe that alone puts you in a better position. But it's really frustrating to see a lot of parts of this team be competitive. But if you just got to get these other areas up to snuff somehow, some way, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, the way the schedule sets up, they have 3 true road games.
Yeah.
We don't leave Indiana for damn near 2 months. I think Jeremiah Love's the most talented player maybe we've ever had. With Denbrock, I mean, I'm all in. I'm so starved for football. I'm going to be watching Mike Singer play the video game tonight. He's going to be streaming it.
Yeah, I wanted him to create a player out of me. Can he create me as a player and just make me all skinny and weird, and I can just go around and like yell at people? So. Can he just make me all weird and skinny, and my job's to like mess with people out there?
Yeah, you could be a holder. I think he created Goolsby, or he was planning on it.
Well, he's got a lot more material to work with there than with old Johnny boy here. I don't know what I could do. Maybe I could just be a little skinny receiver or something. Slip me out there.
I thought you could hold the ball for when the ball blows over on the kickoff.
There we go. Yeah, I like that. It's a good spot for me. So, Mark, I don't know. We're going to have to see how this goes. I am anticipating more frustration with the wide receiver thing. Like, as these guys announce or whatever, like, I'm just expecting bad news because why wouldn't I? That has been my entire Notre Dame experience with wide receivers and recruiting. It almost never goes our way. So I am expecting and preparing for bad news.
And then we all go to Twitter and act like we didn't expect it to happen.
Yep. So I don't know, man. But it's something's got to change. And the best thing you could do is good quarterback play, exciting offense that involves the wide receivers, and then be willing to spend a little more than you're comfortable with. Those are the best answers I got. Mark, really, those are the best answers I have. Is good quarterback play that excites people, skill guys want to play with, a more exciting offense that gets all those guys in the mix and gives them a chance to excel. And then you're just going to have to wrap your mind around guaranteeing more money than you like. If you want to compete, you're just going to have to get over yourself, and you're going to have to realize that's a part of this.
Yeah. And this week, one game has turned into just one of these games. I just can't wait to get it over with.
Oh, baby.
Just get the stupid win.
Oh, baby.
And then it's clear coasting for a while. I'm sick of it. I'm the same way with the Ohio State game last week with all the Ohio State callers and chatters. I just want to get the damn game over with. And I just want to get this win. Get it going. Get to the tailgate and Final Four bus. Jeremiah Love Heisman.
Oh, Mark. I don't know. Buddy. It's going to be rough. Call. No problem. Let's go think about our dogs dying instead. It'll put us in a better mood. All right. I'll talk to you later, Mark. See you, buddy. Have a good one. Later. Oh, man. So, John, you intentionally skip over our comment. Dude, I can't read every single comment everyone puts in the chat. Intentionally skip over a conversation about the 8th-ranked wide receiver in the state of Indiana. Stop trying to save the guy, John. You would bury your favorite coach, BK, for that in-state miss. I don't know all the details of that recruitment. That's the other thing. I'm a little hesitant on all of that. When I don't, here's what I'm struggling with. We don't always know why we may not get a certain recruit. So you could be like, there's an in-state guy that seems like a Notre Dame fit. You should have the inside track for. We don't get him. He ends up going elsewhere. And then it's like, Freeman, you dropped the ball. You didn't get this guy. What the hell are you doing? You didn't get this guy. You dropped the ball. That's a big failure on Freeman or whatever. And then I hear behind the scenes Yeah, the guy's test score, like you'd have to triple his test scores for him to even sniff Notre Dame. It really hurts, but they just can't do it. I like, what do you want me to do? Nail Freeman for that? And I'm not saying that about any specific player. I'm not saying that about any specific player, but I'm saying that is messaging I've heard multiple times since Freeman's been here is it looks really bad. Whatever reason should be a Notre Dame inside track guy. He goes somewhere else. It looks bad on Notre Dame. And then I hear behind the scenes, John, the grades were just not close. They're not even in the ballpark where you could, like, Freeman could go kick me a bone on this one and let me get the guy in and it'll work. Not even, like, just off the map. Not going to happen. Is that a Freeman thing? Like, if it's borderline, then it's like, okay, let's wheel and deal with the admin, throw me a bone, get the guy in, give him some extra mentoring to make sure he's getting through. Maybe he enrolls early and starts taking classes in it early to be able to balance out whatever. Andrew, a lot of those guys, think about it. They have the time frames on all of this have really ramped up. They're offering guys way earlier than they ever did before. Like a year and a half even, earlier than they had done before just because of the calendar, the college football recruitment calendar. They're offering guys earlier than ever. And sometimes I don't think they have a full picture of where the academics are when they find a guy. Or they want to encourage a guy or entice them with a little, be like, hey, this could be out there for you if you do the right things or whatever. The fact that they're doing all the recruiting stuff earlier in guys' high school careers means that there's a lot less of that academic stuff that's set in stone than when you're like a junior taking the ACT or whenever that is, whatever. But I have just heard multiple times, like, John, it's not even close. Like, they're interested, but it's just not close. And then I don't know what you want Freeman to do about that. Make the guy smarter? So I don't know. Jesus Christ. When are you going to Commander, you just hear what you want to hear. You just hear what you want to hear, man. It doesn't matter what I say. You hear whatever you want to hear in your own brain. I just said 2 minutes ago. I'm not saying this about any specific guy, but in general, I've heard this multiple times. But you ignore that, and then you hear whatever the voices in your head today are telling you. He went to freaking Stanford. How could you say about that? 2 minutes ago, I just said it wasn't about a specific guy. Can we go back to talking about our dogs dying? Be a lot less stressful than this. Son of a buck. 574, what's going on a Monday?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. Man, there's just a lot of meat on the Notre Dame bone, man. It's never boring. There's always something to debate. And so I don't know. It's what do you make of this? You've been listening to this. You're a regular viewer and caller. Where do you fall on any of this? I'll just leave that up to you.
Well, I agree with what a lot of you guys, what you guys are saying, for the most part. But at the same time, I'm not too worried about the wide receiver room just because what they have to do, I think, how you get, all these other, schools. I know Notre Dame's a little different, because obviously they're high academic. Obviously, they can't get the talent like Georgia or like anything. But I say I'm not too worried about the wide receiver room right now. I think if we like start winning, like have a good year, make a run, you know, in the playoffs especially, and we've been actually a big game in the playoffs, I think that's when they'll start to come, honestly. That's just my opinion. Of course, and yeah, the wide receiver room hasn't been as great the past few seasons. Just haven't been able to get much separation, you know. But honestly, I'm feeling pretty confident. I believe in Freeman. I believe in the coaching staff. I think the offense is going to look a lot better. You know, the wide receivers are going to get a lot more, separation.
Yeah.
I feel.
So do you, so do you believe,
I think it's going to look real.
So do you believe that alone will help alleviate a certain percentage of the struggles with the wide receiver recruiting? Like that alone, if everybody could see you have a real big boy, modern, exciting offense that involves those skill guys more, and it looks like you're getting some more stability at the quarterback situation, hopefully with Leonard and whatever comes next in-house. I know those things are going to help, but I don't know how much. Is that stuff alone enough to help you not being comfortable maybe paying the same amount of NIL as some other teams? Or like I just don't know how to measure what a difference that's going to make. How much?
Yeah, I just think, especially if they make a run, and it all starts, I think, by winning the big games.
We're in our chicken and the egg. We're in our chicken and the egg. It takes the big games, but then I ask, well, what's usually the biggest factor winning the biggest games against the best teams with the most talent? You having really good players. So again, we're in the chicken and the egg. So the only answer is development of what you do have, meaning you get more out of them than when they came in, and guys got to step up, man. Make big plays that we're not used to. Like, you got to play up outside yourself sometimes. Play better than everybody thinks you could play. Everybody gives a little bit more, like whatever you got to do. Otherwise, you're chasing that chicken and the egg forever, and you never get to one side or the other.
Yeah. Like, you can't have one or the other. Like, you have to have both. Like, if you're going to have a skilled QB, which I don't really know about Riley Leonard. I guess we'll have to see what happens, but I'm just talking about like the ones that Freeman has recruited, like CJ Carr and Deuce Knight. Like if you have skilled QB and you don't have skilled wide receivers, well, that's going to be a big problem. Like you can't have one or the other. Like that's basically. You're basically, holding the offense back, from doing what they wanted, their goals. And that's kind of the thing. Like, you have to have both. But I legitimately think that it's going to look better, honestly. And I trust in Freeman. I trust in, I really do think he's building something special, like, that we haven't seen in a long time.
All right. Now, wait a second. This is important. And there's a little differentiator here. Kind of with that and kind of not. And what I mean is, I believe Freeman totally understands the scoreboard. He knows like how things are done in the modern era. He knows he doesn't have his head in the sand of the realities and the games being played and the money and whatever. I trust that Freeman has an accurate picture of where things are at in the Notre Dame landscape and where we fit in that greater tapestry around the country. But that's different than me, that he could get the other stuff where it needs to go. Because he alone can't do all that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I trust him that he understands the situation. But I'm not sure that I trust him to be able to do it all alone, dig himself out of it with like the wide receiver room, for example. Like that part I don't know about because I'm not sure that he alone could do all that single-handedly. Maybe you disagree. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I'm not saying that he is the best coach like since Lou Holtz or anything like right now. But I'm just saying like he's got basically the personality, you know, to be a great coach like that. And the way he's recruiting, we haven't seen anything quite like that and since probably the 80s. So, but I agree with you. Like he does need to fix a lot of things. Like especially like when we play on the road, you know, he's got to fix all that too. He's got to make some adjustments because it seems like it last year, and that's kind of the thing that I'm kind of worried about. Like worried about the road environments, and if he does that, if he fixes all that, I think that he's going to be. I think he's going to be a pretty good coach. If he's just got a lot of mistakes that he needs to, like the 10 men in the field. You know, I don't agree with that at all. Like that's a big mistake, and he needs to fix all that if he's gonna.
You know what? It was just funny. The way you said it was so funny. You're like, yeah, that old 10-man thing. I really don't agree with that. Like, I would sure hope you don't. If we're talking about like theory on how to position your team to win the biggest game played in the stadium since October 15th of 2005 against USC, and you were just casually like, yeah, I just kind of don't agree. Such a nightmare. That was amazing. And you were just, yeah, I just kind of don't agree with it. That was the highlight of my morning. I just don't agree with it. You know, it was the biggest failure we've had in like 20 years. I just kind of don't agree with it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? I mean, I think that he's gonna, have this team ready to go. For Texas A&M.
Oh, you better be.
I think that
you better be. I just pulled out the coach. Oh, you better be ready. Go down there, A&M. Them boy don't mess around down there. A&M all that oil money, boy. You better be ready, boy.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, though. I think the coaching, the offense is going to look a lot better. I don't know how much better, like you were saying.
Oh, it better look a lot better. You better actually look balanced. You maybe better act like you have a plan. You better act like you're not predictable. You better actually involve your wide receivers. You better be creative. You better mix it up. You better not run into the strength of the defense. Like there's a lot of things that offense could do a lot different that's going to yield different results. Mark want me to do more voices. I don't know what other voices you want me to do. Pat, how much time you got, buddy? How much? What is it? What is it you don't like about all those other coaches? How much time you got, buddy? They all think they're the best dancers. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, it's all about development, That's where it all starts. You got to develop the players properly and coach them good, to put them in positions to be, successful. So that's kind of the biggest thing too. Like they do that, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, it's I'm telling you, man, sometimes when you call in, I'm hoping the call of your delivery will transfer into my body somehow and calm me down. You have a very calm way of talking that I don't. I'm hoping it helps calm me down this year, buddy. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, the way that we totally ruined the season and embarrassed ourselves in front of the whole world in the biggest game in 30 years, I really kind of disagree with the way that went. Like it was the most calm. It was inspirational. I've never seen somebody so calmly express that situation. I love you. It was great. And it was genuine. It was beautiful. I loved it, man. That it made me happy.
But yeah, hopefully it's time to get rolling now. You know, time to get rolling. No more games.
Yeah.
Games. It's time to
year
get
3.
serious.
It's the whole thing. The whole year 3 Freeman thing, year 3 for Notre Dame coaches, the new playoff. It's all lining up. People in Freeman's camp little interested in perhaps an extension. All of this is coming to a head in year 3. Got to have a good year. You got to go to A&M and be ready to play. If you lose that game, it's going to be a rough year for everybody. Go down there ready to play, win it. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to win it.
Yep. I do think that we will win. I have a feeling.
Oh, you better.
I hope so.
You better.
But I guess we'll see what happens. It depends on how healthy, Riley Leonard is going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm personally not big on him. I just don't really think he's I don't know. I just don't feel like he's as good as Hartman, personally.
Yeah,
I think he's a downgrade. Maybe he's a better athlete, but
it better not be a downgrade. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's a dual threat guy. Like that, you don't think that alone makes him more dangerous? The fact that Hartman was never the natural plan for Hartman to take off on you the way, right? That's a part of Leonard's game. Don't you think that alone is going to make him more dangerous, that a defense always has to prepare for that?
Yeah, but I don't know. I just have my concerns as all, because I just don't really like his numbers didn't really look as great, dude, and that's what I just kind of worry about, I guess. But maybe he will ball out.
Oh, he better. You need it. You need it. Went down to that Manning Passing Academy, and apparently he was throwing the ball pretty good. And also his leg, his ankle one was all put together. So you need him to be more effective with the passing game, and you need to use that dual threat thing. Not enough to get his ankle cracked in half, but enough to keep defenses more balanced and straight up than they were last year. So I don't know, but he better be better than Hartman, or this is all going down a bad direction, buddy.
Yep. But I will say that he does have better coaching than Hartman did. Or at least he's got, Mike Denbrock, and I think he could fit like Mike Denbrock, style of offense.
Yeah, it should be way more. Yeah, it should be everything. Game planning, entering games, adapting and pivoting in games, the creativity, not being scared. You could tell way too many times Parker was just scared and then went conservative because he didn't know what to do. So he hedged conservative. Like none of that's going to be the deal. You're going to have a whole different ball game this year, man. But hey, I appreciate the call on a Monday, and I appreciate the calmness with which you described our Irish misery. It was very inspiring. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. Have a good week. Give me a call again. Thank you. Appreciate it. This dude, this guy was like, and I realize everybody isn't a weirdo the way I am, all animated and whipped up. He's like, yeah, when the whole Bush push thing happened and we thought we won and it turned out that we didn't win and it was the most painful thing ever. I really don't think that was fun. Michigan football at the Voice College Football. So who the hell runs this? It ain't Mark. So who runs the channel? Because if it's the Voice College Football, it's connected to Mark, but it ain't probably Mark. Who runs the channel? Not beating OSU is a huge negative for ND. Well, thank you for letting me know that. I didn't know that before now. It took a Michigan fan to fill me in on that. They are not in the upper tier programs for recruits to consider. I kind of agree with that, and I kind of don't. And if you look at the recruiting class, I believe that represents my view as well. Like if Deuce Knight signs, I would say he's a top recruit considering Notre Dame, right? But is it at the level I want it to be and that I think it could be? Absolutely not. If it was, you wouldn't be looking at going 0 for 3 on these wide receivers coming up. I'm fully prepared for that, you guys. I'm ready for 0 for 3 strike 1, strike 2. Hey, strike 3, you're out. I'm getting ready for it. Butternut says the Aggies will be jacked up. This is why I did notice the Michigan guy couldn't spell recruits, but I was going to let it go. I had other things to yell about. The Aggies will be jacked up. You're correct. And if you're the guys in the white overalls, they're off too, but that's a different story. Anyways, I love this stupid show. Oh, they're going to be jacked up. There's no doubt about it. And that's why everybody, I don't want to get mad at the end of the show, man. This is, you butternuts, you're absolutely right. Number one is, where the hell did you come from? I don't ever remember seeing your name. Now you're in here making good points all day. Keep coming back. I appreciate it. I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you're here. Making good, fair points all day. People want me, Notre Dame, in-house Notre Dame people. Their big thing is, John, are you holding, that's my big thing now is, am I holding Freeman accountable for what happens enough? And what I'm saying is, there is no excuse at all for Notre Dame not to be fully ready for this moment. It is week 1. It is week 1. You have all August to prepare for the noise. You got speakers. Jack up the fake crowd noise and the music. The heat. Oh, John, Indiana heat's not like that Texas heat, whatever. Okay, go inside the little indoor facility. You close the doors and the windows. You have no AC. You don't have any fans. You got 150 of them guys all breathing in there, sweating, humid the place up. You have no excuse. None. So that is on Freeman. It's all on Freeman. And if he does this thing of like, well, we're not doing any, we're not going to change any of our preparations in camp for week 1. We're going to do things the way we normally would. If it was, say the first game was Northern Illinois at home, easing into the season, and it's Northern at home, right? Fine. But if Freeman says, we're going to prepare just like we would for any other opening game or whatever, and we're not going to do anything. And then you go to A&M and it takes you a quarter and a half to wake up or to realize it's loud, and you got the O linemen offside. The D linemen are jumping offsides. The O linemen are snap infraction. Yeah, snap my neck in half watching this garbage. false start out the wazoo, and we got our linemen. You know what I'm talking about. You just see their big ass come up at the wrong time, and then they're standing there, and I'm looking at you, and then you got to burn a timeout because we can't hear, and everybody's disorganized, and you the false start out the wazoo. No, that's 100% on Freeman. You could prepare for all this. It's just up to you if you were willing to. You can prepare for all of this. It is your choice if you want to. If you're doing the whole, we don't think we need to, we're not going to make extra preparation specifically for A&M, you better win that game and show up ready. You better show up ready. There is no excuse. There is none. It is week 1. This is not Ohio State week 5 last year where Freeman could legitimately say, we got 4 other games we need to prepare for. We know everybody's looking to Ohio State week 5, but we got 4 other games we got to prepare. We got to travel overseas to Ireland and get ready for all the goofy Navy crap they do, the submarine slingers and everything else they do. And we got to get ready. So if Freeman does not make the West end, there go. Oh, I almost made it through the show without my screen blanking out. It's up to Freeman. And yeah, the players need to deliver. But you got to put them in the right mind frame and the position to be able to get as much out of them as you can. 5 times? Are you out of your mind? Dude, I'm really getting pissed off. How much I pay for this internet that's supposed to be fast, I really don't understand. Better make the playoff for this season is a failure. Are you buddy? You're so right. Pat, the router's like, man, I don't even think it's in the basement. I think it's in the living room upstairs. So I don't know. What about coming out soft on the road? Yep. And I don't know how you fix that. That's on Freeman and the player leadership. What do you mean? You don't know? The little box with the internet thing. It's up by the TV in the living room. And I'm in the basement. That's where it is. I don't think I have one in the basement. You're saying you can't do that? Well, then why all last year I didn't have this issue and now I do? That's my big confusion. I used to not have this issue and now I do, and I've changed nothing. So is this one of those classic American deals where I pay more and get shittier service? Like everything else in society, food, everything. You pay more and you get less. You want to talk about this road stuff? It's a big deal. That's a big deal to me. You played like anus on the road last year, and there's no excuses. No excuses. Even the road games you won last year, you didn't play great. And you took a while to wake up, and eventually you had more talent than the other team, and you wore them down and ended up winning. Most of those road games you ended up winning. You didn't even start out playing good. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that, I mean, the games you think, Louisville, let's not go there. Clemson, let's not go there. You started terrible against Stanford. NC State was a slow start, and you eventually grounded it out, ended up winning. Whatever. You need to You just need to be ready to play on the road. Is that mentality? Is that preparation? Is it physical travel? Like literally the travel makes you tired. Maybe you need to redo your schedule, your travel accommodations. Like, I don't know. But something needs to change. It is already so hard to win on the road. It is so hard to win on the road anyways. If you're going to sleepwalk for a quarter and a half, you just don't, you're really, really setting yourself up to lose. You think about it. You're going on the road. You're Notre Dame. Everybody hates you everywhere you go. You're going to get everybody's best shot. The fans are worked up and ready to go. If you go in there and sleepwalk a quarter and a half, you really are asking to lose. The best thing you could do against A&M with 110,000 drunk cowboy boot wearing people down there is to play good early and shut them up. It's the only way. Play good early, shut them up. You get the ball, drive down the field. They get the ball, 3 and out, shut them up. If you take a quarter and a half to wake up, it may be too damn late. Zero leeway. Zero. None. You got to be ready. No leeway. You have all of camp to get ready. All of it. Coming out slow was a bigger issue under Kelly. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, yeah, we're talking about different levels of the problem. I mean, but obviously, I love the picture of the Miami 17 game when we come out on the field and that still shot of Kelly's eyes. He was so scared and overwhelmed. He had no idea. He knew in that moment we were getting killed before we even kicked. You could see the fear in Kelly's eyes, and that permeates. It permeates, and the whole team felt it, and the game was lost before it even got kicked up. You could see the horror in Kelly's eyes that he knew that he was not ready for the moment, and the team wasn't either. You could see it when he came out. So yeah, whatever, man. Maybe I need to put this wire through the basement and something. I got a drill and a drill bit or whatever. I need one of these wires. We could run it. I don't know. We could try. All right, everybody. This was a well-rounded, weird show. A well-rounded, very weird show. And I appreciate everybody being here. We had a lot of new people, and I really like that. So I don't know where they're coming from, but we had some new people joining the show. Interesting comments. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks, everybody. This was fun. By the way, Andrew Gilmore is the winner. He nailed. I recorded a video yesterday that I'm going to post tomorrow. And Andrew literally nailed exactly the whole theme and title of the video. He nailed it all. So it's one of Andrew's comments, and he nailed it. So that'll be the video tomorrow, and we'll see what you guys think. We'll see you all on Twitter. Take it easy.